A very good morning. EURUSD is resting at the overall liquidity high, which has formed here on the weekly time frame. And as we can see, the 1 hour time frame is currently consolidating and waiting for its next big move. Good morning, guys. My name is Fabio, and as always, we dive into the major dollar pairs and, of course, gold. Now, euro dollar has really been consolidating yesterday. Despite that, it has given again a strong bullish daily candle close, and today I'll be looking to see how the market reacts within that overall area of liquidity, which I just showed you that had formed on the weekly time frame. Now, for now, we are resting inside a 1 hour area of demand. It provided us with an initial push up in towards the highs, but we failed to eventually break the current fractal high. Now, at this point in time, the market is squeezing in this kind of like wedge formation, and it should break out very, very soon. Now, obviously, the daily time frame number one is bullish. We can very clearly see that the overall fractal structure, which we have over here, with this being the low, this being the high, is bullish. And then if we dive into towards the 4 hour time frame, again, we can also see that the overall market structure is bullish, with this here being the swing low, this here being the swing high. Now, the fractal structure is also bullish, with this being the fractal low and this being the fractal high. So therefore, longs are pretty much the only thing makes sense. Because look, when the daily fractal is bullish, the 4 hour fractal is bullish, one of my major confluences, namely market structure, from both a fractal and both a swing perspective, are both going to be bullish. So therefore, longs are pretty much the only thing that makes sense. Now, keep in mind, where are we currently trading? Because that's the next question that you have to ask yourself. Number one, we are trading at a premium of fractal structure, so we're trading in the blue zone. Furthermore, as well, from a 4 hour perspective, if we look at both the fractal and the swing, first of all, the fractal, we're trading at a premium. And based on the swing structure as well, we're also trading at a premium. So therefore, longs are not well priced, because preferably when you look at taking a long, you want to take a long position from a area of demand, which you, for example, have over here, or for example, over here. And you want to be going long from, let's say, at least the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. Now, in these kind of situations, when the market is trading here, and if we look more specifically, knowing that the daily fractal is bullish, the 4 hour fractal is bullish, and the 1 hour fractal is bullish with 1 hour demand still in control, you can only say that longs make sense. Here we have a 1 hour demand zone. It's not very strong because we still have equal lows resting over here. So yes, the market at any point in time can push up higher. I'm not looking to short from this level. The only short or short-term short that you could take is, let's say we start breaking below the 1 hour fractal, we trade the pullback back down. That would be opportunity. Or you just wait for demand to get hit, and then you don't really go short, because going short obviously is against the trend, because again, you're bullish on all time frames, so it doesn't really make sense to go short. However, going long is also tricky because you're not well priced. So that makes this kind of like trade overall here on EURUSD, for myself at least, in the way that I trade, a little bit complicated. Preferably you would wait for the market to reprice itself to best levels, then give you the bullish confirmation to go long. So what I mean by that is that if you look at past price action, and let's say if we just remove all of these lines here, and we look at, for example, this impulse in towards the highs over here. So we have this push from this low in towards this high. The market that's trading here is currently like we're trading over here. Okay, so what you see happening is that the market eventually retraces into 0.5, and those are the kind of buys that you want to be taking from, for example, 0.5, or once you kind of get the bullish confirmation and you form a strong area of demand, like we did, for example, over here. These are the high probability areas that you want to be buying in. And as you can see, you could trade from here to here, but this is just a minor swing. So therefore, it's kind of like a moment to stay out of your USD trades, in my opinion, if you are really looking for the high probability setups. Because obviously, from a weekly perspective, yes, we're trading at a little bump in the road here, which is highly probable to provide us with a pullback. But despite that, we don't really have any confirmation. We don't have a 4 hour fractal break that is close. We have a daily fractal, which is very bullish. The 1 hour fractal is still bullish. So therefore, those shorts are just not, I can't justify taking a short position, let me put it that way, on EURUSD to trade that pullback. And therefore, longs are still the only option according to my playbook. And therefore, I'll just be waiting for the market to reprice itself better, or provide us with a cleaner long opportunity where we, for example, see a strong push down, we liquidate a lot of lows, we get a V-shaped reversal back up, we form strong areas of demand, and then I get into kind of like a double fractal break, because at the moment going long here is also not justifiable, because this is not a strong area of demand, as we still have a lot of equal lows open here, and therefore this demand for me is not strong enough to go long from. Yes, it could push up higher at any moment in time, but I would really prefer for us to kind of like liquidate some lows before looking at any further upside continuation here on EURUSD. Now, moving on in towards the dollar index, we can see that the dollar index pushed down lower yesterday, again with a bearish daily candle close. Overall, not much has changed, with us still being here with this supply zone. Fractal is still bearish. 4-hour fractal is still bearish as well. So overall, just looking for further downside. That's pretty much the only thing I can say. Here we have a supply zone, and here we have a nice supply zone, and if it retraces in towards there, those are good potential selling areas for the dollar, so potential EURUSD buys once we reach these areas of supply here on the dollar. Again, at any point in time, the dollar can just keep selling off. If it does retrace, these are nice areas to look for bearish confirmation in order to go short once again. So that's what I'm waiting for on the dollar. Or again, we're bearish on the dollar market structure wise, and if we do see that pullback, then those are kind of like the zones where you want to be looking for a short from. Going into AUD USD, we can see that AU itself is still very slow. Yesterday we haven't really moved too much. The daily time frame is back at this liquidity high. Furthermore, it is pushed into this buy before the sell supply zone over here, as I can see. So this is a nice strong supply zone with a liquidity high resting right below it. So it could cause the overall pullback here on AUD to start today. So I'll be keeping an eye open here on AU. Again, the thing is though that let's say the 4-hour fractal does break, so we do break the current fractal low, and then we get the retracement. Like the short to this demand zone over here is only like 20 pips. So I won't really be looking to get in on AUD/USD pullback trades. I'll just be anticipating on the fact that that supply zone will provide us with a pullback. And then once we see bullish momentum return, that is then the moment that I'll be getting into longs once again, as the market structure is still bullish on AUD/USD here, with the daily fractal being bullish, the weekly fractal being bullish, and obviously the 4-hour also being swing bullish as well. If we were to clean up this chart, because I can see that this chart is a little bit messy, but you would say that this here is the swing break, swing low, swing high. So therefore, pretty much let's say this is the 0.5 fib with this demand zone being right above it. So I'll just be looking for longs like this again on AUD/USD, following the overall trend up higher. Moving on into GBPUSD. GU is pretty much similar to EURUSD in the sense that we have a nice liquidity high over here. We've tapped into that liquidity high, and straight away we're seeing a aggressive reaction or an aggressive slowdown on GBPUSD. Now looking here at the daily time frame, obviously we have that overextend leg up. We still have pretty much the order flow open, so the entire setup for the buy. If you were to refine that, you have two major areas of demand here on GU, this and this. So once the market retraces and reprices itself, those are the two demand zones that I'm looking for longs from. 4-hour time frame wise, yeah, I mean, again, like I said on EURUSD, at any point in time we can just continue pushing up higher, but I would prefer to, okay, let it just push up higher then, and then just wait for those high probability long zones to go long, because these longs over here are just for intraday traders. So I would say look at like the 1 hour, the 15-minute time frame, if you want to go long from those zones. But then again, the demand that we have kind of like over here is not very strong, because it's just all based on ascending lows here. So I would like to see a liquidation event very soon, and then we can look for longs once again, in my opinion, on GBPUSD. That would be a higher probability trade. Yeah, so that's GU. Going into NU, NZD USD. Also similar to AUD/USD, but still has a lot more room to push up higher, in my opinion, from the perspective that this liquidity high is still open, and we still haven't taken out this swing high over here. So again, we're bullish with the NZD/USD market structure. The only thing that is not good is again the slow and ugly price action that we have over here. So I will be keeping my eyes open, because a potential correction could come with all of these ascending lows. But again, when is it going to drop? Because here you also had a fractal break and then it doesn't kind of like continue down lower. So just let this thing kind of like do its thing again. Maybe just wait for this swing high to get taken out, because once that high gets taken out, then a short would be much more validated than at the current price levels. Because despite us, for example, having, let's say, this supply zone over here, you can see that the supply zone is not really strong enough because we're just consolidating inside supply. So if supply was really that strong, it would already push the market down lower, which it hasn't. Therefore, I'll just let this thing push up higher. And then going into dollar Swiss, dollar yen, and gold. Dollar Swiss itself continues to push down lower following the overall order flow. So that's nice to see. Again, if you look at the 1 hour time frame, you can again see, the best is pretty much, to be honest, the 4 hour and the daily. We can see that daily momentum is still down, 4 hour momentum is still down. This overall kind of like 4 hour buy before the sell here, again pushing the market down lower. So yeah, no longs to be taken on USD Swiss yet. I'll just be keeping an eye open for how the daily fractal structure reacts, because what is nice on USD Swiss is that the daily fractal high is now so close. So once we break that, maybe I'll look for some short-term longs to take out a lot of descending highs again and grab some liquidity. Dollar yen, still looking at the same as yesterday. We can see on the daily time frame that we tapped into that supply zone, which I mentioned, and then on the 4 hour time frame, it becomes a little bit more clear again. You can see here that 4 hour supply has been tapped, provided us with an initial reaction from this imbalance candle. And now I'm looking at the 1 hour time frame to see if we can get a little bit more confirmation, and the 15. On the 1 hour, what is nice is that we broke kind of like this internal fractal low here, and then these two imbalance candles act as supply. So I'm kind of looking for another low break in towards the downside to then see if we can get some more shorts on USD JPY. And yeah, maybe we'll take out some descending highs first, but eventually I'm looking for some shorts. But I would need to see a little bit more confirmation here from USD JPY. But overall, I like the daily, and I also like the fact that the weekly is fractal bearish as well, from this high in towards this low, and that the fact that we also still have equal lows open as well supports kind of like that overall short bias for USD JPY. But as we can see, for now we're just consolidating here. So I'm now waiting for kind of like a liquidation event. So maybe take out these descending highs, and then see kind of like a change of character down, or like the internal change of character down to look for the short. I wouldn't open a short right here, right now. I would need to see something else. And then, of course, gold. So gold itself pushed down lower aggressively, following the 4 hour order flow and kind of like the internal daily order flow. We can see here that these daily imbalance candles have pushed the market down lower. Now, going into the 4 hour time frame, we can see that on the 4 hour, or the 1 hour becomes a little bit more clear, to be honest. Because on the 1 hour time frame, we had this beautiful 1 hour demand zone or supply zone. Within that daily supply zone, we tap into that zone, and then we get the 1 hour bearish change of character. We retrace exactly in towards the buy before the sell here, and then we just sell off very aggressively. So for now, what I would do if it was gold is wait. Obviously, we're kind of like at a strong level of support here. I'll be looking to see how the market reacts to this. I'm not going to jump the gun by getting into longs early. For me, wait for the current fractal high to break. Once the current fractal high breaks, that is then when long opportunities will come back into the market. So we need to see aggressive V-shaped reversal, clean demand zone, and then we can look for longs once again back into an all-time high. Otherwise, just let this thing drop down lower and follow the daily fractal structure in towards the downside, because the daily and the 4 hour are now both bearish. So this is now your 4 hour supply zone over here, and just follow that market structure as long as that remains bearish. For now, the immediate kind of like next term targets are, let's say, this swing low over here and this swing low eventually over here. So those are kind of like the levels I'm looking at, and obviously we have some sporadic areas of demand, for example this one over here, where the market could also react to, but we'll have to keep an eye on how then the daily fractal and the 4 hour fractal develop themselves after tapping into those zones. But at least Jordan Belfort is making a lot of money on these shorts. If you don't know who he is, make sure to join Discord. Link in the description of this video. And if you want access to the fractal indicator, the link is also in the description of this video. Thanks guys, have an amazing weekend, and speak soon.